Have you ever been surrounded by friends, yet felt strangely invisible? You smile, you talk, you join in, but deep inside, there's a quiet sense that you're not really part of it. That feeling has a name, being this sideline friend. Picture this. You walk into a gathering. Everyone seems happy to see you. You chat, you laugh, you blend in. But as the night goes on, the conversations drift into stories that started without you. Jokes you don't fully understand. Plans that were made elsewhere. You keep up the smile, but something inside whispers, "I'm not their first call." Psychologically, this experience is common. Humans are social creatures. We're built to seek connection. Belonging isn't just emotional comfort, it's a basic need. When that need isn't met, even subtly, your brain reacts with real distress. The pain of being overlooked activates the same regions as physical pain. That's why even light exclusion feels heavier than logic says it should. People who end up as the friendly outsider are often kind, adaptable, and emotionally intelligent. They listen well. They make others feel safe. They notice when the mood shifts and help balance it. But because they give attention so easily, they rarely receive the same depth of attention in return. Over time, they become everyone's friend but no one's favorite. There's a particular sadness in this role. You're there for the group, yet your presence feels optional. You're tagged in photos, but not in private messages. You join every outing, but no one seems to miss you when you skip one. It's not rejection, it's invisibility. The good news, awareness is the start of change. Feeling peripheral doesn't mean you're broken or unworthy. It means your social energy is misallocated. You're investing in relationships that don't offer balanced value. The first step is not to chase louder friends or force your way into the center, but to pause and observe. Ask yourself, who reaches out when you're quiet? Who remembers your preferences without being told? Who listens without rushing to talk about themselves? These are the people who see you. In the coming sections, we'll uncover what drives this dynamic, the subtle psychology of belonging, why some people naturally drift toward the edges of groups, and practical ways to rebuild genuine, mutual connections. So before we move on, take a moment. Think about your circles. Do you feel chosen or just included? The difference is the key to finding where you truly belong. Why do some people, often kind, empathetic, and open, end up feeling like supporting characters in their own social circles? To understand that, we need to look at both psychology and habit. This is not just about friendship. It's about how humans navigate connection, validation, and belonging. 1. The psychology of belonging. Every person carries a biological need to belong. It's not weakness, it's survival. Our brains are wired to seek inclusion because, for thousands of years, being part of a group meant safety. Rejection meant danger. Even now, when our survival doesn't depend on a tribe, our nervous system reacts to exclusion as if it were a threat. When you feel overlooked, when conversations flow around you but not toward you, your body interprets that as stress. Heart rate rises. The brain releases cortisol. You feel anxious or tired without knowing why. The mind starts creating stories. They don't like me. I'm not interesting enough. Those thoughts aren't always true, but they are your brain's attempt to explain the discomfort. Belonging is not only about being physically present in a group, it's about being emotionally acknowledged. Someone who knows your story, who notices your absence, who seeks your opinion. That's what truly satisfies the need to belong. Without that, you can be surrounded by people and still feel lonely. 2. Invisible exclusion. There's a difference between being rejected and being ignored. Rejection is loud. It tells you where you stand. Being ignored is quiet. It gives you no signal to respond to, so you stay, waiting, hoping to be noticed. Invisible exclusion often looks polite. You're in every group chat, but not part of the core discussions. You're invited to gatherings, but not consulted in planning. People smile when they see you, but you notice you're not the one they confide in. You're a part of everything, and yet essential to nothing. This kind of exclusion creates confusion because nothing seems wrong. On the surface, the friendships appear healthy, but emotionally, you feel detached. It's like being in a conversation where everyone is speaking your language, yet you can't find the rhythm to join in. That sense of distance doesn't always come from others' cruelty. Often, it's structural. Groups form layers, the inner circle built from shared history, and the outer circle built from shared presence. If you entered late or naturally take on a supportive role, you can get stuck in that outer layer without noticing. 3. Why the nice ones drift to the edges. Many sideline friends are social translators. You pay attention to emotions, tone, silence. You make sure everyone feels included. You step in to keep harmony. You know how to ease tension. Ironically, this very skill can backfire. When you're always smoothing over discomfort, others get used to your steadiness. You become reliable background energy, pleasant but predictable. People lean on you emotionally, but forget to lean toward you relationally. They assume you're fine because you rarely complain. Your kindness becomes invisible because it's constant. Over time, this leads to emotional fatigue. You continue showing up, smiling, listening, but inside, you start detaching. You laugh at jokes you don't find funny. You say it's okay when it's not. You adapt so well that no one realizes you're exhausted. 4. The trap of over-adaptation. When belonging feels fragile, people often compensate by trying harder, texting more, agreeing more, showing up to every invitation. The logic is, if I keep proving I care, they'll care back. But connection doesn't grow from effort alone. It grows from reciprocity. Over-adaptation is when you reshape yourself to fit what others need. Too quiet among loud friends, too cheerful among cold ones, too agreeable with everyone. At first, it keeps you safe, but it slowly erodes authenticity. You become a reflection of what others expect rather than who you are. The mind starts measuring worth through approval. They invited me. I matter. They didn't. I failed. The self becomes dependent on others' recognition. And because approval is inconsistent, the feeling of belonging never stabilizes. The result? Chronic emotional hunger. You crave connection but never feel full. You replay interactions, trying to decode what went wrong. You feel both grateful and lonely. This is not weakness, it's conditioning. You were taught that being easy to like is the safest way to belong. It works until it doesn't. 5. The emotional cost. Constant invisibility changes how you view yourself. You begin doubting your value. You shrink in group settings. You contribute less, fearing you'll sound offbeat. And when you're quiet, others interpret it as disinterest, reinforcing the cycle. This erosion of self-expression has deep effects. It limits your creativity, confidence, and even career growth. People who feel peripheral often downplay achievements, avoid leadership, or hesitate to take up space, socially and professionally. You also start believing that being chosen is rare luck, not a normal right. So you settle for one-sided friendships because they feel better than none. But over time, such imbalance becomes heavy. You feel responsible for maintaining every bond, while others coast comfortably. The truth: friendship is not about constant availability. It's about mutual visibility. You deserve people who notice when you pull back, who ask how you are, who make space for your silence as much as your presence. 6. The turning point: awareness. Awareness is not comfortable, but it is powerful. The moment you recognize that your role in friendships has become one-sided, you gain choice. You can stop performing connection and start cultivating it. Awareness also brings grief. You might realize that some people you cared deeply for never truly saw you. It's painful, but clarity is a filter. It reveals which connections were built on convenience and which were built on care. Once you see that difference, you stop chasing closeness that was never meant for you. This isn't about cutting people off or retreating from every group. It's about balancing emotional investment. The people who value you will stay when the energy shifts. The rest will fade naturally, and that's healthy. 7. Rebuilding your center. Start by reconnecting with yourself before reconnecting with others. When you've spent years adapting, you forget what you actually like, what kind of humor resonates, what kind of people make you feel alive. Ask simple questions. Who do I feel relaxed around? Who leaves me energized instead of drained? What kind of conversations make me forget time? Pay attention to the answers. They are maps leading back to authentic connection. Next, create small boundaries. You don't have to attend every event, reply instantly, or entertain every message. Silence is not rejection, it's recalibration. When you stop overgiving, you'll see who steps forward naturally. Those are your real friends. You can also nurture intimacy by being specific. Instead of asking, "How are you?" say, "You mentioned you were nervous about your meeting. How did it go?" Specificity signals genuine interest. When you model that depth, others often mirror it. 8. Learning to take up space. For many sideline friends, taking up space feels selfish. You're used to being considerate, letting others lead. But healthy belonging requires contribution and presence. Practice small acts of visibility. Speak first in conversations once in a while. Share your opinions, even if they differ. Suggest plans instead of waiting to be invited. Admit when you're hurt instead of pretending it's fine. You'll notice resistance at first, an inner voice that says, "You're being too much." Ignore it. That voice was trained by years of self-minimizing. The more you assert your place, the quieter it gets. Visibility doesn't mean being loud. It means being real. Authentic energy attracts authentic people. 9. Choosing the right circles. Not every environment allows you to thrive. Some groups survive on competition or shallow bonding. In those, no amount of sincerity will make you feel seen. Recognizing that is liberation, not failure. Instead, seek people who communicate directly, who respect boundaries, who celebrate individuality. The easiest test is reciprocity. Do they initiate, or do they only respond? Do they ask as many questions as they answer? Do they value your quiet moments as much as your cheerful ones? When you find those dynamics, connection feels effortless. You no longer have to translate yourself. You belong without performance. 10. The power of solitude. Before deep friendship comes comfort with solitude. Being alone teaches you to enjoy your own company, to refill instead of chase. It helps you distinguish between loneliness and peace. Solitude is not punishment. It's space to remember what you sound like when no one's talking over you. When you start treating your time as valuable, you stop giving it away to people who don't notice your absence. True belonging begins when you realize your presence is already enough, even before anyone validates it. 11. From bystander to belonging. You don't have to become someone else to stop being this sideline friend. You only need to stop negotiating for worth that's already yours. When you shift your energy from chasing attention to nurturing alignment, everything changes. You'll speak more honestly. You'll show up more intentionally. Some relationships will fade. That's expected. Others will deepen, grounded in equality instead of effort. Being seen starts with seeing yourself, not as a backup character, but as the author of your own circle. The truth is, friendship isn't about being chosen by everyone. It's about being known deeply by a few. You don't need to fill every room. You need to find the ones that feel like home. You've recognized the pattern. You've stopped over-adapting. You've chosen quality over quantity. Now comes the most important phase, living as someone who belongs to themselves first. Belonging begins with honesty, not with others, but with yourself. Ask, what parts of me have I hidden to stay likable? Maybe you downplay your opinions. Maybe you soften your achievements. Maybe you say, I don't mind, when you do. Bring those parts back into the light. The people meant for you will never require you to shrink. Belonging also means presence. When you're with others, stop scanning for signs of exclusion. Stop watching how often they glance your way. Start focusing on connection, not comparison. Listen fully, speak fully, and notice how your energy changes when you drop the need to prove yourself. Practice micro acts of self-respect. Leave conversations that exhaust you. Stop apologizing for existing. Accept compliments without deflection. Rest when you're tired, even if others keep talking. Each small act tells your mind, I matter here. True friendship doesn't demand performance. It's quiet, steady, mutual. You don't have to be the planner, the joker, or the problem solver to earn space. You already have space by being human. The more you stand in that truth, the more naturally real connections find you. As you shift, something subtle happens. Your presence begins to hold weight. People start noticing your absence. You become not the extra, but the essential. Not because you changed your personality, but because you stopped hiding it. The journey from invisibility to belonging isn't dramatic. It's built from consistent boundaries, self-awareness, and the courage to walk away from places that don't see you. It's choosing depth over noise. If you take only one thought from this video, let it be this. Your time, your energy, and your attention are valuable currencies. Spend them where they return warmth, not where they vanish unnoticed. When you honor your own presence, you teach others how to honor it too. You no longer chase the spotlight. You become your own source of light. And from that steady glow, the right people will always find you.